How to light for a dramatic blockbuster look. Hello everybody, my name is Mark Banyule, I'm a cinematographer, and today we dig into a commercial where they use deep blue colors with high contrast lighting, which in my opinion is a classical blockbuster look. In the cinematography breakdown, I guide you through this process how to create a look like this. This is the first shot we're looking at, and there are already a few things you probably noticed. First thing first, it's actually pretty dark. The overall exposure of the scenery is really on the lower end. I can show you now the false cover just as you have a feeling around where our skin tones and the background lies. Then the next thing is the white balance of the shot is blue. I wouldn't even call it a white balance, or it's just blue. And a lot of people will tell you, hey, this is not accurate white balance. He should have normal skin tones and only the background has to be blue. Yes and no. You always have to think about the story and the context of the scene. Now, here everything tells us, okay, it's something like an U-boat or we're on a ship. And this already gives us the feeling of ocean, dark, adventure. And this is the reason you can just color your whole image in a dark blue and also the skin tones, and it feels right. It's always the artistic choice. You don't have to go for correct skin tones because there are no correct skin tones. This is a movie, a commercial, where you try to tell a story just by using colors, lights, and camera movement. And that is the reason why you should ignore every rule you ever heard in your life, because it always depends on the situation you're right now in. So, how do we light a scene like this? First things first, you probably notice we have a really high contrast ratio. We only have a little bit light on this side, and this side of his face is probably completely dark. The trick, first of all, is set the exposure on the background. Use a lot of practicals. As you see in the background, we have practical light sources that are placed in the location. So when we walk around and pan the camera around, there's always light interest in the background. When you want this really dark, low-key look, you need light references in the background. Otherwise, your shots will really feel boring and has no depth to it. That's first step you have to do. Place your lights, because it also helps you that you know where to put the key light. Because now when he stands next to this thing, you know, okay, the key light has to come from this direction. And here, because he has the flashlight on this side, normally, do you know a scene where they have this little flame in this oil, like you probably know from Game of Thrones or other movies, where they have this fire thing in their hands and walking around with it and using this for the key light. That's not possible with a flashlight, because a flashlight does everything but dropping light on you. But they still gives the feeling from the audience, okay, this is where the light came from. And the only thing you have to do right now is someone with a light panel or an Astera with a big diffusion. What I like to use a lot nowadays are an Astera tube, but with a balloon over it, so that you maximize the light source. And now we have a really light thing a gaffer can go around with and gives just a little bit of key on the actor, because that's all we need. When you want to make something feel dark, shoot it dark. Just add a little bit of shape so that we know, okay, there is a face and not just a silhouette that is walking around, but keep the overall exposure of the scene low. This gives you the cinematic look. A lot of people now will probably boost the exposure on his face and just drop the lights on the background, but that's wrong. When you're in a dark room looking at someone, their skin is probably dark, and that's also how you should shoot it. Then what's also nice about scene is the lens choice. We are shooting anamorphic. As you can see, we have a little bit of lens flare going on here, and we're a little more on the compressed side. That's a 75 or 65 anamorphic lens, because we have this nice compression. When we want to have this feeling of an uncanny feeling, someone is stressed or scared, we go for a tighter lens because it feels more dramatic. The person feels a lot more isolated than on a wider lens. Here, this is the next scene, and here they did also a really cool thing, and they used the lights from the windows of the ship that do perfect circles in the background and also behind these guys. And Highlights like this are motivated, and also you can use as separation because you want still a really dark feeling around these guys. But we can still create separation if you put that really dark people in front of a bright background, and now we created another layer. Always try when you're working in this really low light situation, placing your characters in front of something brighter so you don't have to use edge lights or something like this. Then you probably notice, okay, but how do they get such nice exposure from their face? There are two possibilities how you can do it normally. One thing would be that you put a lamp around here as a top light that bounces on the table, and this light bounces back into the people. But because we have story and no one knows that this is actually film equipment, you can just put your Astera here to push the exposure a lot and use it as a key light. A lot of people are scared to use film lights as practicals because they think it's unprofessional, because people will notice, it's a film light. But 99% of the time people don't know what a film light is. So this is something that can totally be on a ship to where people working on because they need to light their map. And when you have this story element where it explains why this light is here, everything is fine, everything is easy, just drop it into the scene, you get a nice practical, and also it helps create a nice key light on your actors. So this is a scene that also looks really cool because we have this extreme leading lines here in the background and our main actor just on the very, very left side of the frame. And this usage of negative space is a really cool thing to use because now we can probably do something like tilt down and reveal something that is here, but still have the expression of the man here, and still can use these leading lines as leading lines for our viewership. Leading lines were often used to bring our focus to the person. So normally you would search something like leading lines that bring our view to him, but sometimes it also reveals something that could happen now. And after the scene, like I said before, we have a tilt down and reveal something that's far in the background. So this is also a nice technique to use with leading lines. And here also, like I said before, it's really important, light for the background. Set your camera, set your exposure, where how the background should look like, and then add light to your actor or remove light to our actor. Because we try to face this lights from the ceiling, we really have to drop the exposure when he was probably pretty dark, the whole scene. And we just added a light. This now could be everything. Could be a 600D with a light dome, something with power. Could also be just like I showed you before, an Astera with a balloon, and giving this nice hard but soft key light. We're always going for this really half-lit look. What I mean with it is we don't try to cross with the light the other side of the face to really separate the light in the face and create a dramatic look. And when this is not enough, you can remove light from him with a floppy that you can have on one side on his face, and also build a ceiling with it that you just put over him, so you can remove light from this side and also from the top, and only have this nice side light. This is the most extreme version of the shot. As you can see, we don't have any light on this side. Only here in the background is a little bit light, and then we have this key light. The reason why this shot doesn't feel boring, even though there's such less detail, is because we have something in the background. The background is the most important thing most of the time of your scenery. So when you want to light him and want a dramatic feeling, you still need a little bit of touch of light in the background. And what they've done here is, as you can see, they took a bit of blue color here, a bit of warmer colors in the background to create a little bit of color separation. So we created 1, 2, 3, 4 layers with the combination of colors and light. What you also probably notice is the skin tones. So always say go for the perfect skin tones. You have to be on the vector scope, on the line to get nice skin tones. When you actually check a lot of movies, series, and pick the skin color, it's very often green, magenta, and not really online, because it's the look of film stock most of the time. Film stock has more greenish or more magenta skin tones. So it's nothing that is wrong. Sometimes when you're going to really clean look and want everything to look perfect, then yeah, go for perfect skin tones. But really, really often you can actually have a little bit of a greener or magenta tint in your skin. So if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a subscription from you. My name is Marco Bagnoli and I'll see you tomorrow.